Hey NAI football fans, Cory Thorpe here with another edition of the NAIFBALL podcast powered by AdCraft USA, your custom apparel, merch, and uniform experts. Our friends at AdCraft have been with us for many years now. They've run web stores for us multiple times. These guys are NAI fans and family who are experts in the apparel and merchandise world. AdCraft allows you to take the hassle out of ordering. Let their knowledgeable design and customer service staff handle everything from hosting the store online, shipping the product, and helping your customers so you can get back to the game. Find them online at adcraftusa.com. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the NAIF Ball Podcast. We have for you tonight Concordia head coach Joshua Schumacher. Coach, how are you tonight?
You know what? I'm doing well. Guys, we're working out. This is our last week before spring break. Definitely a little bit different in our office. Coach Straz is at the hospital with his wife tonight. She's about to give birth. So last time I checked, she was 3/4 of the way there. But we're definitely praying for him because his son has a heart disease, and so he has hypoplastic left heart syndrome. His name's Braxton. So keeping them in our prayers tonight. So he'll have to have surgery afterwards. But yeah, we're all kind of excited for them and praying for him. But a little bit different not having him around the office today. But everything they've been praying a lot about it going into it. Our team's been praying for him as well. And but we've had a great semester so far. Guys been working really hard in the weight room, conditioning, and I'm really happy about where we're at leadership wise too. Having a lot of great conversations.
I'm curious because I've seen some pictures on Twitter. Is like the week before spring break, is that any different for y'all? I mean, I'm seeing guys from, I think it was Dort in daggum Hawaiian shirts and sunglasses working out, and I'm like going, look at these jokers.
Well, we haven't had too much of that yet, but our guys are enjoying it. The only thing that seems different for us is that our professors seem to assign all the midterm projects and those things. So, getting all those things done.
And those are never fun, but what is fun is football. And let's talk about a year ago. You really get to kind of reset from a spring where you very much, when we talked last, you still kind of had a bad taste in your mouth, and y'all come out in September, and y'all rattle off 5 consecutive wins. What was it like, kind of resetting the mechanism, to borrow a phrase?
That was it was definitely hard. We lost a lot of great leaders and a lot of great players that were graduating and didn't come back. And so it was definitely, from quarterback to defensive end to offensive line positions, definitely like figuring things out and creating that chemistry as well as the leadership void, which was just difficult going from the spring to the fall with new guys stepping up into leaders and those things. So it was definitely a challenge. I thought so many of our guys did a great job of leading and stepping in at the same time. Like, we weren't without our issues, but we worked hard to go learn from them and work through it. And I think we're coming out on the other end, extremely better for it. And our guys got to learn a lot in that process, and so did myself as well as the coaches as we kind of went through that process.
So you are coming into your 10th year total at Concordia. That is, a decade anywhere in one place is sometimes hard to do at any level. But this year you kind of had a bit of a unique challenge in rebuilding your offense. Talk to me about the process of rebuilding your offense from mostly scratch with underclassmen.
Yeah, going into this year, the biggest question was at quarterback. Peter Morrison had been just a great vocal leader by example in our program, and led us to the first conference championship. And so really, starting at the quarterback position, we wanted to have the best competition we could have for that. We laid out for our quarterbacks what we were looking for, expectations through the summer, things to be working on, what we were looking for as we headed into camp. And then, as you're rotating different guys with the first group, second group, and so on, It's really, what that does is it certainly gives guys an opportunity. It also puts pressure on them where each day feels like a game day for those guys, which is somewhat like, are they in too much stress in those situations, as well as trying to just go out there and compete. But you know, uh, Gavin ended up being our starter. He definitely won the job with his consistency, and we were, it was definitely a little nerve wracking to start a class of 21 quarterback in the fall of 21, and so just seeing his growth and development was great. And first game of the year, he definitely he came out as confident as he could be. I know he could love to have some of the throws back, but at the same time was conference player of the week. So not too bad for your first start. And from there, really did a good job. We had some big wins. And as the season went on, it was also, Keyrell Jackson, our running back, came in, won the starting running back job. He was out in spring with a ACL injury. And so I think in a lot of ways, what was difficult about it for us in the this fall was just, it takes time and repetition to create that chemistry. And so there's times that we, are clicking a little bit more than others. But, as you see with some of the top teams in the NAI, there's a lot of chemistry with the best offenses. And we're excited about, some of those things moving into this next season as we have a lot of guys back and just that more reps and history to build upon.
Defensively, you're losing some really nice pieces on the defensive side, especially in your front seven, where you're losing Hunter Maynard, Andrew Forster, and Aaron Ron there. But really, what I want to home in on is, do you have a process like where you make all your linebackers punt? Because that seems like a thing with y'all, that all your linebackers have to be dual threat punters. I mean, this is your second guy in a row that is like this, and this one's all conference both positions.
We Casey does a tremendous job. Andrew O'Hara was the guy before me you're talking about, and yeah, we we certainly love it. We love having an 11th guy that we know can make a tackle on the punt team. That's a great bonus. So you really trust your safety if he's your Mike linebacker on the punt team. So yeah, I don't know, we want to find guys that are athletes that love football, and if they can do more things, then we're going to use them to do those, use their talents.
And just otherwise on your defense, last year it was rebuilding your offense. It looks like a little bit of this year you're going to have to be plugging and playing with your defense throughout spring. Talk about what you're looking for out of your defense as a whole going into spring ball.
Yeah, I'm excited to have, a lot of our, almost all our secondary back. So that's great in terms of that communication. Plus, we get some guys back that missed this year from injury. But we've had a great group of guys, especially young linebackers, working really, really hard in the weight room. Quite a few of them, actually. So I'm really eager to get working with them in spring ball. We start that March 30th. And so getting to see, their new bodies, because a lot of them look different than when I was coaching them in November. So getting to see that out there is going to be great. We're excited about some of the guys up front that we have coming back, like Colin Vaughn and Marv Dupree. Those are two guys that played a lot for us that are, Marv stepped in as a freshman and had quite a few tackles for a loss. Colin was an anchor in the middle for us. So there's definitely a lot to be excited about to build there, and just seeing the work ethic of the younger guys that they're putting in. Excited about, getting to see what they can do.
So, talking with coaches all over, a lot of I hear a lot of coaches say you really know what your team is in spring ball, and you learn so much about your team in spring ball. And to me, looking at kind of how y'all developed throughout the season, uh, really watching your team, especially after that loss to Marion, I think kind of was a big turning point for y'all. Um, where a lot of those games in the front half were close, and after that loss at Marion, you go and you beat up on Lawrence Tech and Madonna, and then you beat St. Francis by 30 points and St. Xavier by 40. Um, and come out like that with that offensive performance. Talk about that development throughout the year and seeing these guys blossom as they get more confident, both offensively and defensively?
Yeah, we definitely looked at ourselves first as coaches after we lost the Marion game, and really wanted to evaluate where we were at, how we were coaching, what could we do better, and then yes, definitely a process from there in terms of that self-reflection of looking at that. You try to have that after your wins too, but obviously it always stings and is a little bit different after a loss, and so our coaches were really receptive to it. And we were really open work talking with each other on both sides of the ball my belief is definitely that like put all your coaches' brains together is better than just one person making the decision. So having that cohesiveness with the staff and the trust was definitely, I think, a big piece of it to get things out there and try to work on them from there. And then really present a united front to our team on the things that we wanted to tweak and change from there. And certainly our players were frustrated with that loss and wanted to, you had a captive audience that really wanted to learn and grow and get better from there. And so, kind of within it, really tried to hone in on like, what are we good at? What do our best players do best? And like, how are we going to continue to just get repetitions at being, who we are and what we want to be. And so really, I think that was trying to be, was really our main focus. I was just trying to, we have talented players, and how do we get them out there to just play confidently? And that was, essentially what we did. Obviously, the specific plays and things that we did with that. But that was pretty much the gist of it.
So, like I'd said before, you are entering into your 10th year, Concordia, 6th at the helm. And you've been with the program since its early days, since its infancy. You've seen it grow from a perennial cellar dweller into a perennial playoff contender, and a perennial team that has a chance to go deep in the playoffs at that. Talk to me then as sort of a coach that's kind of in that mid stage. You're past the infancy of your program. You've gotten your feet wet. You've gotten a couple of generations, so to speak, of players underneath you. Talk to me about developing relationships with your fans and with your alumni that you can then use to grow your program, both football and your support base for athletics in general, and how Concordia goes about doing that.
Yeah, when I really got into coaching and wanted to coach it at Concordia, well, my dad was a Lutheran pastor, and growing up in the church, I wanted to be a teacher and a coach, and I wanted to teach U.S. history and coach football on Friday nights. My parents said you should get a math degree, that way you can get a job. So I listened to them, and that's what happened. I got a job, and teaching math. And so, one of my goals of wanting to coach at Concordia was to help just guys that wanted to get into coaching and be teachers and coaches, because you can have such an impact and try to help guys learn like a great way to do it and go about your business to make an impact. But in my time at Concordia, what's been awesome is like, I wanted to impact those guys who were like wanting to be coaches, but now it's like helping connect our alumni with guys that are in our undergraduates now with internships. So we just had a tight end, Connor Blanche, that graduated. He was in our first recruiting class that graduated in 2017, and he just got 3 guys an internship in computer science. And then we have Amon Payne, who's in the FBI. He got an accounting degree in criminal justice, and like that was his goal of what he wanted to do, and he got it. Now we have other guys who are kind of like interested in things like that. And so having guys that have gone on to do it and guys that have played for us, it's fun to be able to be a connector to, like, I don't have all the answers on how you do that, but I can help connect the guys in our program with other people that have gone through, pretty much, a lot of the same professors, and just how to take those next steps in there and kind of the keys to having success from where they're at. And so that's definitely been a huge, a really fun part to be able to just help connect people in that way. Some of the other cool things is like Wing Fellas is a big sponsor for us. Like I think, they give us like 1,200 wings after every game, and that was a connection through alumni. And so that's a lot of home game wings afterwards, because we tailgate afterwards, and our parents do an awesome job of bringing in salads and desserts and those things. But really, when I got to Concordia, as assistant coach for Coach Priest, and he was new moving there. He was coming from Chicago. We really didn't know a lot of people, and we'd go around, and people 40 minutes away hadn't heard much about Concordia, and if they had, they knew the football team wasn't very good, and so it was like, we had to just slowly build our relationships one at a time. And I think in some ways, that gave us, like, we knew the route. We had to take care of each guy that we had in there, and there was no way, there was no other way that we wanted to do it, but it was also the only way we could do it. And so it was a blessing in that way. To just build the relationships one at a time. And so, when you get to do it now, like you said, almost for 10 years, those kind of just stack on top of each other one day at a time. And while we've made mistakes along the way, we've tried to be consistent enough that, we can overcome those and work through those things in relationships. And that's definitely, you know, grown to be one of the best parts, absolutely, of getting to coach here is all the people that you get to meet and work with. And quite frankly, it's like we've had a staff that's been together for 7, 8, 9 years, and guys that have, been in the program after playing for a long time. And it's fun to see guys grow and develop as players into coaches, into getting married as husbands, and then into fatherhood. That it's, I don't know, it's hard to, you can't get that a lot of places, and we definitely embrace it.
It seems to me, listening to you talk, that there are actually a lot of parallels between pastoring and being basically a sheep herder of stupid sheep and being a coach. There are quite a lot of parallels there, and I bet your dad has been just a great source of skills in that area. Those people skills that you get from pastoring are a hard-won, hard-fought bunch of skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I my dad did sign language, and I was born when he was at the seminary. So some of the churches that he'd worked at and served at, were hard of hearing, and my family was like the only people that could hear in the church. So dad could tell us to be quiet if we were misbehaving quite easily. But I think the opportunity to live in a few different places and to see different cultures and see where, from the Midwest, I went to high school in Connecticut, just seeing different parts of the country. Michigan's the longest I lived in one place, but I was able to have a fresh start as a kid growing up, moving. They didn't remember if I picked my nose last year or something, or wore my, stupid things like that. And so having that fresh start, I think, is really important within your program each year. That it's like you don't have to transfer to get a fresh start. Like, we want to give you the opportunity that it's like, each day is really a new start, but even each season and each spring, that it's like, I'm expecting for you to learn and grow just like I am. You can expect that I should be a better coach this year. That doesn't mean I'm not going to make mistakes, but at the same time, it's like I want our players to be able to go out there and know that it's like, just because I made a boneheaded decision, during a game last year, that it's like I can learn from that and go out there and be successful, and that we want to give them that opportunity. So I definitely agree with you in a lot of ways. And the opportunities I had to learn from my father, definitely learned a ton from he and my mom. And I think, obviously, servant leadership, and that the fact that, like, you are trying to help create just an awesome experience for the guys, whether it's coming down to breaking down data and trying to put them in the best situation on 3rd and long, or whatever the situation may be in a game, to, how do we create good systems in the weight room and leadership development, or just, other processes, when it comes to just managing 120 some guys in a football season and traveling. So I think that servant leadership aspect has definitely been the piece that I've learned the most from my folks. And I definitely 100% agree, goes hand in hand with coaching.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming back on the NAIF Ball podcast. Definitely enjoy having you every year, and looking forward to watching who rises to the top in the gauntlet that is the Mid-States Midwest.
Thank you very much, Cory.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the NAIF Ball podcast presented by AdCraft USA. Be sure to contact them for all your custom apparel, merch, and uniform needs. Thanks also to Mommy Bay Turf and Turf Nation, as well as Leading Edge Fundraising, for their support of the podcast. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to the podcast as well as to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. As always, if you'd like to support what we do, head over to patreon.com/NAIAFBALL and become a patron. We can't do what we do without our sponsors and listeners like you.